What's up, guys? I'm Koji. Today's topic is about a skill of expressing idea. Expression of the idea is important because you have to somehow communicate with other individual about what is what you have in your mind to other individual, and we we keep constantly exchange idea one another. One has the idea to convey to the other individual, and you receive the other individual's idea by some kind of communication, some kind of expression of idea, either what it's a speak and a form of speech, or the form of art piece, or form of writings, form of graphics, form of performance, like a musical instrument, like playing piano or playing guitars or singing a song with your own voice. That is all expression of idea in your head. Now, we as a human being, as a social creature, we need to develop the skill of expressing idea in a better way. And when you have idea, it has a very beautiful, and at the beginning, I mean, it is always beautiful in its head, and it is just great. It is just great within your head, but it is hard to express as as it is greatness, and to convey the greatness in your head to the actual tangible or sensible form of expression. So if you get better at expressing idea in some form, you you can convey the greatness in your head to other individual well. So it is really important for you to develop the skill of expression, any kind of idea you want, and you need to express, you need to develop, you need to practice the skill to express the idea. To practice how you practice it, you just keep doing it and continuously and repeatedly over and over again. So let's say you have a melody idea, musical idea in your head, and you want to express it somehow. Okay, so now then you need to choose musical instrument. If it's a voice, you will sing. You will keep singing as you get, practice multiple times, and you get better at singing. If you pick piano and you practice it, and you keep doing until you express what what you have in your mind into the actual playing expression. And I think if you playing it as an artist, you never get to the perfection of your idea to the expression. What I mean is, what you have in your mind is the most beautiful form, and try to convey and try to express in the actual and tangible and or sensible form of expression. It loses some beautiness and greatness, in the process of transforming to the visible or sensible format. That is the nature of expressing things. But however, you never reach the perfection of the idea. However, you you do practice it to get close to the perfection. Now you have various kind of skill to express your idea, like a concept. If you have an idea of a concept, you need to express it in the form of visible format, so that other individual can sense it and understand it, so that you can communicate idea based on the visible format. Now, if it's a speech, you gotta speak, and you gotta speak to convey your thoughts, and that is required for you to turn idea into the form of words and form of words, and you you need to you need skill to construct it so that other individual can easily understand it, the concept. So need the skill of comprehension also required, but whatever it is, you gotta just need to practice it to develop the skill, to be better at the skill, to better at expressing your idea into the form of speech. So any kind of form of expression, you need a skill of a various type of processing the idea into the form of tangible or sensible form of expression. Now, what I want to focus on today is the beauty of your voice that is directly linked to singing ability, the expression of sing a song, or the expression of making a speech or speak to others. Because we, as a human being, as a social creature, the main form of communication is based on this oral communication, the voice. We utilize sound wave as a communication tool so that we can communicate each other in a distance. Also, we can communicate in the multiple at the same time. That means, for example, touching communication is actually a direct source of communication. However, it's basically a one-to-one communication, right? Either someone touches you and the someone touches you, and you are directly communicating. But it's not going to be a multiple at the same time communication. Or one-to-any communication is impossible by a touching communication. Now, the sound communication is let people to communicate one-to-any communication at the same time. Now, the sound wave has really good characteristics, very interesting characteristics. And I think that's why the creature, we as a creature, utilize it for a long time and choose it to use because it has a lot of merit. And when you speak, you you vibrate your your vocal cord right here at the throat and in your throat, and it vibrates in a certain frequency, and we have a, we have unique vib- vibration frequency one another, so that we can identify who is speaking and who is your you know who's your relatives, or who is your friends, who is your loved one. We can easily identify with the sound of voice. Now, this sound of voice is actually affect you the most, and your body needs your vocal vibration most, and your brain. The research shows that your brain labeling the sound wave, the voice, labeling the voice with the threat score. That means the close friends of yours or close relatives of yours, your brain label it the high threat score. So that if you hear the voice, your your brain interprets as the trustworthy source of a voice. So you hear you hear more, you understand more deeply with the voice, with the source of voice, that is the close friends or relatives or loved ones. Now, of course, you and the someone you respect, fully respect, that is your brain label it as a trustworthy source. That is the same effect. Now, your brain interprets your voice as the highest trust score. You know what I mean? So if the brain hears your voice, it interprets that is the most trustable, most trustworthy source of information. So if you speak, and for example, another example is if you're humming or chanting with some kind. Famous one is sound. You can search it and you can find it in a healing voice, and you have you have ultimate calmness effect through humming or chanting because through your own voice. So your body actually needs your vibration from your vocal cord, and if as you speak it, your body listen to your speaking uh, most closest the closest position, and the body actually needs your vibration, needs your vocal vibration at the most, and you gotta speak, and you gotta speak as you develop your speak skill or the using the vocal cord, the more better voice that you can speak, and you can communicate better. You can The others can easily understand what you're saying easily and take information from you or communicate each other to making some other idea construct through develop the ideas through the communication. That is all because you have a better skill of communication, and the oral communication requires to putting the idea into words format, and you gotta you gotta turn it use it to express with the actual voice. It's creating sounds through the vocal cord, and it is required the practice because it is the body activity. So many time, more time you practice it, the better you will be. So you gotta practice it more to be better at communicating. For and also, and what I want to say here is your body wants to hear your voice, wants to hear your voice every day, wants to hear your voice every minute because it has a calm effect. The body and the brain want to be in a calm state through your voice, and most of the case, um, for example, in my case, in my experience, when I have a corporate job, I concentrated to the project what I have when I at the time, and through almost all day I don't speak anything. I don't speak to anybody because I concentrated, and I need to get this done by the certain schedule timing, and in many days. Oh, of course I have a little bit of conversation at the lunchtime, or a little break time in between. However, most of the time I spend it in the office. I didn't speak anything, and if I go back home when I was alone, when I was a single, um, I don't have a chance to speak out. I don't have a chance to use my voice. So all day long I don't hardly speak, barely speak, and I didn't I didn't notice anything. Is a bad phrase, bad effect, or internally, I felt like I want to speak more. I didn't. I thought it was unhealthy condition that I don't speak much for a whole day. So, and the research shows your voice has a common effect, and if you lack of speech, your mental get easier to depression mode. So you need to speak uh, with your own voice and for your mental health, and also your body requires and wants your vibration of your voice. Now that is why I want to say that vocal communication is a really important skill to you for you to develop it, and you want to consistently use your voice on a daily basis, and somehow you gotta find a chance to speak, or if it's just difficult to just find someone to speak, and that's not the case for you. I think it, I, for me, I'm not so social person, socializing well person. I'm not. I'm some kind of introvert person, so I don't like to to be a stranger, to get into you know some people to talk on a social party or something like that. I I'm not really good at it, and I don't feel like doing it. Not most of the case. And what I want to give you, the one good practice that you can do by yourself in your room, is reading a book aloud. And that is, this sounds probably absurd or too childish, too simple. However, still your body can feel your vibrations through your voice, and it is actually is a practice to use your muscle up around your mouth and the vocal cord. That is a good practice. So read aloud, read a book aloud in your room if you don't have someone to speak, and calling a friend and chatting for hours is not that ideal thing to do, because it's not actually developed in the really practical way of turning idea into the words. Of course, it helps you to communicate better. However, you gotta be you feel your voice more. You want your body wants your voice more. So what I want to recommend is to read a book aloud for 5 to 10 minutes or half an hour, as long as your time schedule allow. So that is the message today, and better habits, better life, and I love you guys. I'm thankful for you always, and see you in the next video. Peace.